Welcome to On the Couch, a regular catch-up where we discuss the issues facing marketing and advertising and hopefully come up with a few solutions. Today I'm joined by Jaimes Leggett, who is the CEO of M&C Saatchi and also the chair of the Communications Council in Australia. Welcome, Jaimes.
Thanks, Darren. Good to be here.
Jaimes, thank you for joining me on the couch because I think advertising agencies have faced some really significant challenges over the last 10 years. I think probably the biggest one from our perspective is this constant downward pressure on the fees that are paid to agencies. What sort of impact has that had on the business?
Wow, big question to
start at the top.
Big question off the bat. Our business is changing immeasurably. I mean, I have this belief that every business in every market everywhere is being disrupted, and ours is no different. But so too are our clients. And, with that disruption comes a need for change within their organizations. Change requires investment in new areas, which requires savings in others. Client budgets are invariably decreasing. That compounded by the fact that the outputs that clients are asking of their agencies in a new world where we're hyper-connected, omni-channel, means that agencies are asked to do more with less spend. The result is a decrease in margin. It's having an impact on our business.
Because you mentioned, client budgets are being forced down as well, but this is at the same time that in the US they've just announced that 48% of the Fortune 500 have actually had revenue drops. So have we cut too far? Are we cutting our way to profit, but at the sacrifice of growth?
It feels oxymoronic, but everyone's running at this utopian world of finding greater efficiencies. So yes, I think we can do what we do collectively as clients and agencies more efficiently. We should be able to generate growth from less spend. That notwithstanding, I think there's a risk that the pendulum does swing too far. And when you look at those numbers, I would absolutely suggest that it has. And we've seen it here as well.
One of the impacts has to be talent acquisition and talent retention. If you've got smaller margins and decreasing revenues from each client, it must be incredibly difficult because advertising is a talent business, isn't it?
I'm not one of those people that particularly stays up at night, not able to sleep. But if your question was, what keeps you up at night? I would absolutely say the war on talent. Our business is nothing but a talent business. And there's an absolute war on talent. Our business is a simple one. We need to hire the best people, and we need to create an environment where they can be the best version of themselves. There is fewer great talent out there because there's more people competing for it. So the onus is on us to hire great people, to grow great people, and to support them on their journey through our business. I think we have an unfair share of the best talents in the marketplace, and that's something we're fiercely proud of. But we've spent a lot of time and effort growing people within our business as well. So I'd say we've got a fairly even split of seniors, people within our business, people that we've hired in from Australia, from other markets, but equally, I would say the same sort of share of people that have grown and moved through the ranks of our business, which is important.
The other thing that's happened, certainly at M&C, but also other agencies, is that creative agencies are now expanding into developing media skills, but we're also seeing media agencies starting to develop creative skills. Is that creating confusion or a benefit for clients?
Look, it's absolutely a benefit. Content and context being joined together is right. It's always been right. We, by the way, were the ones that separated it in terms of the agency landscape. We did that because it was best for the agencies. We separated media agencies and creative agencies because we would make more money. It wasn't the right thing for the clients, but it was the right thing for the agencies 20 odd years ago. They're coming back together again because it's the right thing for the client business. Content, context, you can't separate the two.
The other part of that is the consulting firms. We've recently seen consulting firms by Karmarama in the UK and the Monkeys here. This is a very aggressive play into the heartland of advertising. Is that a concern?
I think we are working in a highly competitive environment. I don't think the consultants playing in our space is wholly new news. I think it's just big news and it is a hot topic and is talked about in the press. For sometimes the criticism of consultancies is that they haven't been able to manifest their strategy tangibly in outputs in the world. I think making acquisitions of the likes of Monkeys, I think, is a very smart move. Creative agencies have learned a long time ago that ideas mean nothing unless they manifest in something in the world. So we are good at making things. But creative agencies have been playing in the strategy space for some time. Strategy didn't exist as a function within our businesses 30 years ago. MNC Saatchi now has 40 odd strategists. Our CSO, my strategy partner, Justin, started his career as a management consultant. So our businesses have consultants in them. We are doing big strategy projects for clients that don't manifest in the communications. The things we don't press release that because it's not an interesting story to run in the trade press. So it might not be as well known. So I think this is a topic that's talked about, which is making it big news. I don't think it's new news. It is more competitive, but that is the business we're in.
And the other thing that's impacting on the business as well, and especially in the US, is large advertisers actually developing in-house agencies. How's that impacting the advertising business?
Look, there's an interesting split there between in-house agencies because we're seeing an absolute drive towards bringing some functions in-house, production particularly, which I think is smart when the production is largely commoditized. Although I'm nervous about splitting too much production out because actually there is a reason that production and the creative exist together because you don't want you want a blurred line, you don't want a disconnected product. So there are some efficiencies to be had about bringing production out. In saying that, we're also seeing some clients build whole creative agencies in-house. If you look at what we've done for Greenhouse, for Woolworths, I think is a good example of that. We've created a team for both agency for Woolworths, but as one which the agency manages and rotates talent, so we've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's a hybrid model, and in fact, it was interesting. I saw a presentation from Intel. They have an agency inside, and they said, yes, 70% of the work is done by the in-house agency, but they rely so heavily on their relationships with their traditional agencies to bring those skills and perspectives that you often lose inside. So is that part of the game plan for your agency?
I just don't believe that we should be so protective about how we do things. What we need to understand is who our customers and our clients, and we need to build models that are right for them. And sometimes that might be a model which is more inside their business than not, and other times it might not be. There's absolutely benefits to both. There's horses for courses. What we know is what our value is, and at its simplest, it's creativity. Creativity is our stock in trade. The reason you would come to MNC Saatchi versus someone else is because we have an unfair share of the best talents in the marketplace, and we're flexible about how we deploy that talent on your business.
Good to hear. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Darren.
And thanks for joining us on the couch. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more On the Couch coming soon. Thank you.